Hey guys, this is your girl Jennifer Lynn, the Crown Jewel, and I am back with another YouTube video. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So, probably, I want to say maybe about 2 weeks ago, I did a video on counterfeits, and I believe it's called The Real versus the Fake. And so I had a couple people in the comments asking questions about why be with a counterfeit. One person said, and then I think another person said, why would God allow your kingdom spouse to be with someone else while you wait alone, hoping for something that probably won't happen? So I'm going to answer this question, and I hope that everyone can have an open mind about this. So, number one, when we look at our kingdom spouses being with another person, and we are thinking that, we're alone and this is probably not going to happen, the first thing is you have to change your mindset. You have to change the way you think. Number two, did God tell you that this is your kingdom spouse? That really should be point number one. Did God tell you, in fact, that this person that you are standing and believing for is your kingdom spouse? If He, in fact, told you that this is your person, you have to now change your mindset. Anything that you want in life, you have to believe the best is going to happen when it comes to that situation. You have to have a positive mindset, think positive things. You have to make sure that you're in prayer. You're reading scriptures that's going to keep your faith strong, and you're speaking positive things out over your kingdom future love story. Number 3, God gives us all free will. Now, there's a twist to this because in my mind, I really feel like God does not fully give us free will. He will let us do what we want for so long, but if it doesn't line up with His will, He's going to eventually step in, take over, and change things around. And so that can work in a very different way when we're looking at these kingdom spouses and prodigals and things of that nature. Because again, these people, when they are out in the world, they're doing XYZ. If it does not line up with the ways and the word of God, there's going to be a judgment call. But whatever happens, we have to have faith. We should be praying for ourselves, asking the Lord to give us strength, asking the Lord to keep us strong, giving us things to pray over our spouses. You are supposed to be the believing spouse. You have to keep in mind, and I say this all the time. I really feel like I sound like a broken record, but I'm going to keep saying it because I really feel like God wants me to keep saying this as much as possible. The kingdom marriages have nothing to do with us. Yes, I know it's painful when you see that your spouse is with someone else, but at the end of the day, they're not rejecting you, they're rejecting God. It's the God in you. So you have to remove yourself from this situation when you're thinking about being alone, and you're thinking about how your kingdom spouse is hurting you because they are with someone else. So I don't know if you guys know about the story. Well, I'm sure most of you guys do this. The story of the prodigal son in the Bible. That that's actually one of my favorite parables in the Bible. I love that story, but if you don't know it, please go and read it. And it's almost identical to what a lot of people are going through with their kingdom spouses. Your kingdom spouse, 9 times out of 10, they are a prodigal, they can't see the things that you see. They can't see things how you see them because they're not walking with the Lord. They're walking with Satan. They're walking with the kingdom of darkness. They're engaging with counterfeits because the counterfeit, it's almost like there's no boundaries with the counterfeit. The counterfeit will allow everything that you don't allow, and you don't allow it because you're following the ways and the word of God. So while let's just say you have a kingdom spouse, they're out in the world, they're a prodigal. These people, they're engaging in fornication, they're engaging in masturbation, adultery, drugs, drinking, partying, spending money, even maybe committing crime. The list goes on and on. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody's story is different when it comes to their kingdom spouse. But if a person is engaged in these type of acts, they're not going to be able to see the light in you. They're not going to be able to see that you are who they are supposed to be with. There's a process behind this whole kingdom marriage thing. It's a whole process, but at the end of the day, I need you guys to stay strong. I need you to keep praying over your spouse, keep praying over your love story. But above all, and I have to even do a video on this, you have to make sure God has told you that this is your kingdom spouse. Otherwise, you don't want to be standing for a person that you were never meant to be with. So that is number one. Make sure you have heard from God. Ask God to give you confirmation after confirmation after confirmation, as many confirmations as you need. He's going to give it in His word. He's going to give it through other people. He's going to give it, He can give it in dreams, visions. The list goes on and on. Make sure that this is your person, because I've heard of many people that are standing for people that are really not their kingdom spouses. And like I said, I don't want to get too much into that. Let's just say that God has told you this. Again, there's a process. These people, they're out in the world, they're blinded by the ways of Satan, they're blinded by the kingdom of darkness. This is why we should be praying, God, remove the veil from my spouse's eyes, allow them to hear clearly, see clearly. You know, there's a process to all of this. And like I said, God is going to have His way at the end of the day. He's giving these kingdom spouses time to get it right. But unfortunately, certain things may have to take place in order for them to really get this. Is time for you to now do basically a switcheroo and start living your life in a different way, for them to see that you are who they are supposed to be with. But again, if they are living these reckless lives, they're doing everything that is not according to the ways of God, they're going to basically have to have a wake up call. They're going to have to have a wake up call, and we don't know how that's going to look. We don't know how that's going to look. Like I've talked about in past videos, some of these kingdom spouses, they're going to lose everything because they're pressing the limits when it comes to God's grace and mercy. They're pressing the limits. And then, like I said, it has to be a judgment call. So if you think about the story of the prodigal son, it's almost identical to what many of you are going through right now. Because what happened with the prodigal son, he wanted his inheritance from his father. He went off, he partied. I think he got prostitutes, burned through all the wealth, all the money that he had, and then he was left with nothing. And in my mind, that's when judgment came in. God had to allow certain things to happen in order for him to come back home. And so what, he lost everything. No one would give him money. He was willing to eat what the pigs ate. So again, there's a process to all of this, but we have to make sure that we are praying over these spouses. Prayer changes things, guys. So you have to, I know, and I'm not going to pretend like it's easy, because it's not. again, I'm walking this journey right along with you guys. But I don't even want to say it in this video, but I will say it in another video. There's ways that you're going to help move this process along quicker, but it all starts and end with God. It all starts and end with God. These marriages are not about us. This is about two people that God has created to do a thing together, in terms of uplifting his kingdom, bringing people to salvation, delivering people, fighting against the kingdom of darkness, encouraging people. There is a process. So, again, there's a part that you have to play, God has to play, and there's going to be a part that your kingdom spouse play. Right now, you guys should be partnering with God. There should not be a day, and I know I'm not gonna even say that because I there's been moments where I really buckle down and pray for my spouse, and there's times where, I just say, "You know what? I may not go in as hard. I may have days that I don't, because sometimes you can get drained and you can get tired, but you want to try to pray over your spouse as much as you can. Try to pray over your spouse as much as you can, because, again, prayer changes things. So I'm going to do some more videos around this topic. I really hope this helps, but again, the marriages are not about us. We really have to start digging in and pressing in with God. God will tell you anything that you need to know regarding this situation with your kingdom spouse. He's not going to tell you all at once, because God never tells us everything in full. So God has shown me a number of things. He's even given me things to say when my spouse returned, because I've been even clueless about what to say when the spouse returns. So I'm just saying that to say, you have to press in with God. When you feel like, you don't have hope, you can't go on, you don't understand why your kingdom spouse is with these counterfeits. The counterfeits, they have nothing on you. They have nothing on you. And when your spouse return, you will see that a lot of these counterfeits, they're casting love spells on these spouses. They're and I hate to kind of start talking about this, but a lot of them, they're using sex to kind of control the mind of these spouses. And there's going to even be a price that these counterfeits have to pay, because, again, they're doing a lot of them, they're doing witchcraft, they're doing the work of the enemy. It's going to be a price to pay. So, um, guys, I just encourage you to hang in there. If God has told you, and at the end of the day, this is all you have to focus on. If God has told you that this person is your kingdom spouse, I need you guys to stand on that and believe on that. Stand on that and believe in that. And here's another point. Think about a moment in your life where things were just really hard and challenging. You didn't know how you were going to get through it, but God made a way, some type of way. He made a way, and you ended up having victory in that situation. It's the same thing. If God has told you that this is your spouse, you have to stand on it and believe on it. Stand on it and believe in it. God is going to do what he said he's going to do. God is not a liar. But again, there's a process to all of this. There's a process. So, like I said, there's a lot of videos that I can do around this topic, and I wasn't always where I was. Like I said, I have a whole testimony. In the beginning, I went through so much. It was insane. But then God started healing my heart, and now I'm in a different place where I can pray over my spouse, and I'm not so focused on my spouse like that, because I know that these marriages, while I want us to come together, I know that these marriages are not about us. So and I'm not going to even say that I'm waiting. I guess you can say that I'm waiting on God, but God has me doing XYZ right now. So that's where my focus is. I don't need to worry about why my kingdom spouse may be with a counterfeit. I don't need to worry about when he's returning. God has already even confirmed and told me that when the time when we're coming back together, even though I'm not focused on it. Again, I wasn't always there, but right now I'm focused on things that I'm supposed to be doing for the Lord, because at the end of the day, this is all about the Lord. This is all about Him. But God is going to do what He said He's going to do. Get the counterfeits out of your mind. And I don't know how long each person has been standing. I know it's a different walk and a different journey for each person. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm disregarding their feelings, but I'm simply saying the counterfeits have absolutely nothing on you. A lot of these counterfeits, you guys may know them. You may have met them in person. You may have seen them on Facebook. I've heard stories where the counterfeit has taunted and, did different things to you guys. Why do you think that these counterfeits do this stuff? I don't give, even though I've never had to deal with a counterfeit regarding my kingdom spouse, I already know, I knew way back when what I had, the value that I held when it came to my kingdom spouse. None of these counterfeits hold a match to me. They just can't. And it's the same thing with you guys. When you are the one, you are the one. So a lot of these counterfeits, they're jealous. They're jealous and they know that they're not going to permanently be able to keep these spouses. They're running out of time. So they're using things like sex and allowing the kingdom spouse to do whatever they want to do. And a person that's really like a real man or woman, you're not going to accept anything from anybody. You're going to stand on what God told you to stand on. And so your spouse is not there yet. They don't like the boundaries and being, I guess you can say, boxed in where they would be required to do the right thing. Again, they're not rejecting you, they're rejecting God. But when you reject God, like I said, when your time run out, He's going to give you grace. I always pray over my spouse, give him grace and mercy. But there's going to be, and I don't want to say a price to pay for these kingdom spouses, but there's a lot is going to happen with some of these kingdom spouses. And that's the only way they're going to be able to see that you are the real deal. You are the one that cared about them. It is the God in you that is allowing you to still stand. And when they see that, they're going to come back and they're going to be remorseful. They're going to make things right. But we have to keep God in the center of all of this. It starts and ends with God. And that's the best that I can tell you guys. Like I said, I may do a part two to this because there's a lot that I can get into with this topic, and I can go in a lot of different directions and angles. I don't want to make this video too long, but I do hope that this helps somebody. I don't know. I'm not gonna say it made me sad, but I think I could feel how that person felt when he said, why would God allow your kingdom spouse to be with someone else while you're alone and waiting and knowing that something probably isn't going to happen? That's what the enemy wants you to think. And so don't give the enemy the power. Don't give the enemy the victory, because you're more powerful than the enemy, and he knows that. So don't allow him to do that to you. If God told you that this is your spouse, and I need you guys to stand on that. This is your girl, Jennifer Land, the crown jewel, and I will talk with you guys next time.